Bernie Madoff, a Wall Street legend, promised the world but hid a sinister secret that would shatter lives and expose a web of deceit. Born in Queens, New York in 1938, Madoff's charisma and drive were evident early on. He founded Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities in 1960 with $5,000. Little did anyone know this ambitious young man would soon become the architect of a colossal financial fraud. The seeds of deceit were sown, and the world remained blissfully unaware. Madoff's firm grew steadily, fueled by his reputation for impressive returns. He was a pioneer in electronic trading, further bolstering his image as a financial visionary. Beneath this persona, however, lay a Ponzi scheme that would leave a trail of financial ruin. Madoff's scheme thrived on trust, targeting exclusive groups and creating an aura of exclusivity. Despite red flags, the system was self-perpetuating, with new investors funding the illusion of success. It was a classic Ponzi scheme on an unprecedented scale. Financial analyst Harry Markopolos raised concerns about Madoff's operation, flagging inconsistencies. The SEC conducted multiple inquiries but failed to uncover the fraud. The 2008 financial crisis exposed Madoff's scheme, leading to his confession and arrest. A Ponzi scheme relies on deception and a constant influx of new money. Madoff promised steady returns but used new investors' funds to pay off older ones. The success of his scheme hinged on a constant stream of new investors. Madoff targeted wealthy individuals and institutions, leveraging social connections. He cultivated an air of exclusivity, making his investment opportunities seem desirable. His tactics were incredibly effective, preying on the desire for exclusivity and trust in authority. Madoff created an air of legitimacy around his firm, renting opulent office space and fabricating trading records. He provided investors with fictitious account statements, avoiding external audits. His meticulous planning and manipulation of information maintained the illusion of success. Financial analyst Harry Markopolos suspected Madoff's returns were too good to be true. He took his concerns to the SEC, but warnings were largely ignored. The failure to heed these red flags allowed Madoff's scheme to continue, ultimately reaching a staggering scale. The collapse of Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme sent shockwaves far beyond his Manhattan office, ensnaring not only his investors, but also those closest to him. Were they willing participants in his fraud, or victims of his deception? Madoff's sons, Mark and Andrew, claimed innocence, but their involvement raised questions. Longtime employees also faced charges, some admitting guilt, others maintaining innocence. The debate over who knew what and when continues. Ruth Madoff, Bernie's wife of over 5 decades, found herself at the center of a storm of controversy and suspicion as the true extent of her husband's crimes came to light. Once a respected figure in New York society, known for her philanthropy and her seemingly idyllic marriage, Ruth became the target of public scorn and relentless media scrutiny. Many questioned how she could have been unaware of her husband's massive fraud, given their close relationship and her involvement in the family finances. While Ruth maintained her innocence throughout the ordeal, claiming to have been completely in the dark about Bernie's criminal activities, her assertions were met with skepticism from investigators, journalists, and the public alike. The sheer scale and duration of Bernie's scheme, coupled with their close personal and professional ties, made it difficult for many to believe that she could have been completely oblivious. In the aftermath of Bernie's arrest, Ruth faced intense legal scrutiny as authorities sought to recover assets for Madoff's victims. The government seized the couple's multi-million-dollar homes, their vast art collection, and even Ruth's personal jewelry, arguing that these assets had been acquired with ill-gotten gains. She ultimately agreed to forfeit virtually all of her personal wealth, leaving her with a fraction of the fortune she once shared with her husband. Ruth's story is a tragic illustration of the collateral damage inflicted by financial crimes. Whether or not she had any knowledge of her husband's activities, she paid a heavy price for his betrayal, facing public humiliation, financial ruin, and the loss of her family's reputation. While the Madoff family and his inner circle faced their own reckoning, it was the thousands of investors who had entrusted their life savings to Bernie Madoff who bore the brunt of his crimes. Their stories are a heartbreaking tapestry of shattered dreams, financial ruin, and the devastating emotional toll of betrayal. Among Madoff's victims were retirees who had poured their pensions into his funds, only to see their life savings vanish overnight. Families lost their homes, their college funds, and their dreams of a secure future. Charitable foundations established to support vital causes saw their endowments decimated, forcing them to curtail their operations and abandon their missions. The impact of Madoff's scheme extended far beyond individual investors. Banks, hedge funds, and other financial institutions that had invested with Madoff or had recommended his funds to their clients also suffered significant losses. The ripple effects of his fraud were felt across the globe, eroding confidence in the financial system and contributing to the global economic downturn. In the aftermath of the scandal, many victims struggled to rebuild their lives, grappling with the emotional trauma of their losses and the realization that their trust had been so profoundly violated. Some were forced to return to work, their retirement dreams shattered. Others faced foreclosure, bankruptcy, and the loss of their homes. The Madoff scandal serves as a stark reminder of the devastating human cost of financial fraud and the importance of investor education and protection. The collapse of Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme left an indelible stain on Wall Street and the financial industry as a whole. It stands as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked greed, regulatory failures, and the erosion of ethical standards. The scandal shook public trust in the financial system to its core, exposing vulnerabilities that had long festered beneath a veneer of prosperity and sophistication. In the wake of the scandal, regulators faced intense criticism for their failure to detect and prevent Madoff's fraud, despite numerous red flags and warnings from whistleblowers. The Securities and Exchange Commission, tasked with protecting investors and maintaining market integrity, came under particularly harsh scrutiny for its repeated failures to uncover Madoff's scheme, even after conducting multiple inquiries into his operations. The Madoff case prompted sweeping reforms aimed at strengthening financial regulations, enhancing investor protections, and restoring public confidence in the markets. New laws were enacted to increase transparency in the hedge fund industry, bolster the SEC's enforcement capabilities, and provide better safeguards for investors' assets. Despite these efforts, the legacy of Bernie Madoff's crimes continues to cast a long shadow over the financial world. His name has become synonymous with greed, deception, and the devastating consequences of unchecked financial malfeasance. The Madoff scandal serves as a timeless cautionary tale, a stark reminder that even in the most sophisticated of systems, human fallibility and the allure of easy money can create opportunities for fraud and devastation. The year 2008 brought a financial tsunami that exposed Madoff's house of cards. Panicked investors sought to withdraw their money from Madoff's seemingly safe haven. Withdrawal requests surged, far exceeding the cash reserves available. Madoff borrowed heavily to meet redemption demands. He assured clients their investments were safe. But the facade was crumbling. Madoff confided in his sons, revealing the truth. The billions he claimed were an elaborate Ponzi scheme. The revelation shattered their world. Mark and Andrew faced an agonizing dilemma. Exposing their father's crimes would have far-reaching consequences. They recognized the gravity of his actions and the impact on his victims. The weight of their father's confession proved too heavy for Mark and Andrew to bear. They understood that their silence would make them complicit in his crimes, and that remaining loyal to their father would come at the expense of their own integrity and the financial well-being of countless innocent individuals and families. In a decision that would forever alter their lives and fracture their family, Mark and Andrew contacted their attorneys and, on December 10, 2008, turned their father in to the authorities. The confession sent shockwaves through the financial world, exposing Bernie Madoff as the mastermind behind one of the largest and most audacious financial frauds in history. The news of Madoff's arrest spread like wildfire, dominating headlines around the globe and sending a chill down the spines of investors who had entrusted their life savings to the man once hailed as a Wall Street legend. The sheer scale of his deception was staggering, with estimates of the total losses exceeding $65 billion. As investigators delved deeper into Madoff's web of deceit, a clearer picture emerged of a man driven by an insatiable greed, a man willing to exploit the trust of friends, family, and strangers alike to fuel his lavish lifestyle and maintain his illusion of success. The Madoff family, once the epitome of wealth and privilege, was now synonymous with betrayal, deceit, and financial ruin. On March 12, 2009, Bernie Madoff pleaded guilty to 11 federal felony charges, including securities fraud, wire fraud, and money laundering. Victims delivered heart-wrenching impact statements detailing the devastating consequences of his greed and deception. On June 29, 2009, at the age of 71, Bernie Madoff was sentenced to 150 years in prison, the maximum sentence allowed by law. The Madoff scandal serves as a cautionary tale about the allure of easy money and the dangers of unchecked greed. The collapse of Bernie Madoff's empire left an enduring scar on the global financial landscape. It serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of trust and the devastating consequences of unchecked greed. Madoff's scheme preyed on the aspirations of many, shattering dreams of financial security. While the world watched in astonishment, the true cost extended far beyond financial losses. The erosion of trust in the financial system and the shattered dreams of countless victims left an enduring sense of vulnerability. The Madoff scandal stands as a cautionary tale, reminding us that ethical boundaries cannot be ignored. It underscores the importance of vigilance and the need for greater transparency in financial dealings. Thank you for joining us on this journey into one of history's most audacious financial crimes. If you found this exploration compelling, like and subscribe to Oblivion Unlocked for more investigations. Together, let's continue to shine a light on the shadows, uncovering the truth and learning from history's lessons.